friends. Brenda of Love's Inner Voice here, and I have a beautiful guest by the name of LaTonya Renee Flood, who we'll meet later. But for right now, let's take in some heart breathing. Feel free to close your eyes. Take in a great big deep breath to the count of 4. Hold it to the count of 7 if you can, and breathe out to the count of 8. Let it help you ground and just be in the moment. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's do it one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. It always makes me feel so relaxed and so grounded. And that is my blessing for you as well. Thank you for being with us today. It's so much fun. LaTonya is a kingdom strategist, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Life and business coach and domestic CEO who helps women of faith heal from internal pressures and reconnect with their identity with Christ or with their divine one. Her work focuses on guiding women out of emotional overwhelm, and we all feel that sometimes, including me, into clarity by aligning their spiritual identity with how they live, lead, and build their life. She is passionate about helping women break free from striving and to rediscover their God within, just like Love's Inner Voice, their God within, and use their gifts to serve from a place of wholeness. As an author and mentor, LaTonya creates space for women to experience both healing and activation spiritually and practically. Her mission is to remind every woman that she is already equipped to walk in purpose and peace, love, and light. So wonderful to have you here, LaTonya. Thank you for coming and joining me. It's so
It's
much fun.
it's an awesome time we've been having so far, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So, anything that I said, I noticed you reacting to some of the bio I was reading. Is there anything you would like to share that came up with you as I
Um,
was sharing your bio?
so it was interesting. I was having some inner conflict in my mind because when you first started with the breathing, which I totally appreciated because it slowed down my heart and I felt very grounded and settled, and I'm like, yeah, like let's go, we can do this. And then you started reading my bio, and then my nerves started coming back again because I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. Oh, whew. For some reason, when I hear myself in a bio form, everything you're saying is true. But for some reason, sometimes when I hear it, I get a little intimidated and I get nervous because I don't know what the listeners are expecting from that type of bio. I'm just Tanya, you know? So that's what you were noticing because my inner self was trying to sabotage me once again, as it always does. And I was fighting back, like, no, those things are true. I am a kingdom strategist. I am a domestic CEO. I am a certified life and business coach. This is what I do. So get out the way. So that's what you were witnessing. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. Thank you for sharing that because we all experience that kind of thing when people are singing our praises. We don't think we're worthy. That unworthy bug just loves to come in and say, you're not good enough. Is that really true? And it's like,
Exactly.
that's one of the things that we're both striving to assist women to break free from in
Right.
our different ways, because there's so many ways, so many aspects that we can bring this information to people,
Mm-hmm.
to women especially, but also to men, because if the women start changing, the men will follow
Oh,
usually.
absolutely. Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
um, so You mentioned not in your bio, but we talked a little bit earlier that we often hear hustle. You often hear hustle culture.
Hmm.
Tell me what that means to you and how that affects us.
Yeah, to me, hustle culture, if I'm breaking it down specifically for a woman, is someone who's constantly going, constantly moving, constantly fulfilling everyone else's needs, whether that's at church, at work, at home, friendship, parents. We wear so many hats sometimes, it's crazy. But we could get confused that doing a lot of things, sometimes we feel as though if we're checking off all the box, that that will lead to some type of joy. But what I've noticed is if you're constantly hustling, however you're unaligned, if you're not in alignment with your purpose, staying busy is not bringing you joy. You're just going to get tired. You're going to feel confused. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to be depressed because you're thinking, I'm constantly doing all the things, but why don't I feel good inside? And it's because
Yeah,
we have chosen to hustle over aligning ourselves with our true identity.
right. And I really appreciate you saying that because it's who are we and who do I want to be
Mm-hmm.
and how do I want to show up in the world?
Right. The key thing you
And
just said was, how do I want to show up? Not
yes,
how do people expect me to show up? How do
yes,
people demand me to show up? No, no, no. How do you want to show up? Because that
right.
that is what matters. But we tend to lean to that question the least amount of times.
I know. And it's so interesting because if I am not showing up authentically, how can I then be of service to anybody else? I mean, that's where I come from
Mm-hmm.
because it's taken me a lot of years to
You and me
to learn
both,
this.
sister.
And it's a daily learning. It's a daily awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about in your bio, it mentions God-given worth. And how does our understanding of my own God-given worth impact my emotional health or anyone's emotional health?
Yeah, sometimes when you ask me questions, I might answer by way of telling a story.
That's
So,
fine. I love it.
just today, I was doing live coaching on my TikTok platform, and I was showing people that I just learned how to do a Rubik's Cube. And I was using it as an example to let people know that for me, 3 weeks ago, I didn't know it was possible for me to do this. I thought that you had to be a genius, you had to be extremely smart to solve this. But once I figured out it's just a strategy that I had to learn, I can do it. So I was showing people online that within 3 weeks, I became an expert. I went from not knowing anything about it to becoming an expert. But I was sharing this for the simple fact to encourage people to know that if there's a lie that you're telling yourself, it could prevent you from becoming an expert in whatever you have to do. Well, someone commented during the live and said that I was showing off. The old Tanya would have been very depressed later tonight. I would have lost sleep because the last thing that I want to do is come off like I'm showing off when I'm honestly just sharing and encouraging others. But it wasn't until I recognized the truth of who God called me to be and that I was just fully showing up as me, whether or not someone receive what I'm doing, because I know I'm doing it from a good place, it shouldn't affect me at all. So when you understand who you are and what God says, it can definitely control your emotions, because the old me would have felt bothered. I probably would not have continued with the live, but I laughed because I'm like, I know the truth now and you can't trick me.
Well, and the other thing is that when people say that, it's about them.
Yes.
And it's probably about their fear or their need to be seen, and we don't know. And one of the challenges that we can all have is that we have expectations of how we're going to respond, how we're going to show up, and how people are going to respond to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really unfair to the other person.
Yes, that is
You
true.
know, it truly is. It's like, really, Brenda? Really, Tanya? Huh?
Right. And good thing I was able to communicate what I just said to you to the gentleman on the live. And we had great dialogue. He was genuinely being funny. But even if I didn't know that, his intent behind what he was saying, um, it was up to me to decide, piggyback on what you just said, it was up to me to decide how I wanted to receive the information. And
Right,
because of where I am in alignment with God right now, it was so much easier to receive. And I'm
right.
I'm honestly, this might sound kind of crazy, but it's true. I'm looking forward to the next opportunity where I can showcase my growth. Because that will really tell the trick. Did I really learn the lesson, or I'm going to be bothered again by what someone else says? And it is a daily thing. It's just a daily
It
thing we have
is.
to remind ourselves.
And I find that I really appreciate, I call them challenges, um, people that show up for my merry-go-round thinking, as I call it. You know, some people call it the gerbil.
Right, right, yeah.
You know, I like the merry-go-round better because I loved it as a kid. And it's anybody and any experience that shows up to block me or to try to control my thinking or my reaction. And unless I remember to take a breath or
Mm-hmm.
notice that I'm stuck or I'm in a feeling of fear or anxiety or whatever, and I don't question where that's coming from, then I'm just going to be
Exactly.
doing this.
Oh, Miss Brenda, were you in my house a few minutes ago? I promise you, before we got on this live, I was talking to myself about that same experience. And I said, the next time that I'm feeling offended or bothered, before I decide on how I want to respond, I'm going to take a breath and ask myself questions like, Tanya,
Yeah,
why did that statement bother you? Because if I
yeah,
can work on that internally before responding, then I would realize that it's because of my thoughts about myself. It has nothing to do with what the person said or what the person
yeah,
asked.
yeah, yeah.
So,
That's
man,
beautiful. And I love acronyms because they really encourage me to look at a word or look at a process and the pieces of it. Because when we pause or when we take a breath, you know the acronym for pause, right?
I don't think so. Please do share.
Perhaps another unseen solution exists, which means that if I take a breath and I pause and really look at, like you said, ask the questions, I may get to make a different choice. And isn't
Right.
that cool?
That is super cool, and you're gonna have to email me that later because I like it. I might make that a t-shirt. I like making
You can
everything
use it, it's fine.
t-shirt. Not to sell it, but just to wear it.
Right, right,
Yes,
right.
no.
And to share it, it because we're all unique and we're
Yes.
all going to take things in a different way. And even though we may both be sharing different ways of communicating with the divine,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's Christ or God or Creator or Father Sky or Mother Earth or whatever, we're all going to uniquely come from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The picture, the metaphor that I love is, well, you weren't old enough, but when we would go to dances, that big disco ball that had all the different shiny pieces in it,
Uh-huh.
those are that's a sample of all the uniqueness that we have in the world,
Oh, that's
multifold.
beautiful. Yeah,
Or
I
every
love that.
star in the sky, we're all stars that shine our unique light.
Miss Brenda, what is going on? When I first remember, I told you I started my business back in 2013. My tag used to be the star you are. And I did
Yeah.
all these speaking engagements, sharing how different all the stars that exist are completely unique, different
Yep.
shapes, different colors. Like when we go to school, we
Yep.
think a star is just like that's not how a star
Yep.
looks at all. Some shines brighter, some are a little closer, but they're all unique in their
Yep.
own way, and they're all are still equally stars. And I yes,
And
I
that's
just
exactly how we are
mm-hmm.
as humans, as women. So, what are some practical ways to distinguish between working for validation and serving from wholeness?
Honestly, I like the question approach that we just started talking. I just had this experience with myself. Again, everything that I teach and coach on is not because I'm like some type of expert. Is I go through these same things daily, and I've
Yep.
learned how to
Raising my hand to that.
yeah, I learned ways like you're asking right now on how to combat these things. So I'm just sharing it in a way that my client or the audience will understand. But the taking the question approach is extremely helpful. Like yesterday, I wanted to show my husband this new post I did on Instagram. I was super excited, and I kept asking him all day, "Have you seen it? Have you seen it?" And he was like, "No, I was working. I waited a few hours. Have you seen it?" And then I had to ask myself, well, why does it matter so much? He'll see it when he sees it. I deep down, because I love and I appreciate him so much, I wanted him to watch the video to say, "Good job, Tanya. That was great." And then it was like, would that really have made a difference? Does it really matter if he thought it was great or not? Would I do it again? Would I not doing? So it's just kind of like, like what's the motive behind the validation? And when you realize that, hey, it doesn't really matter what you think of me. It doesn't really matter if you think I did a great job or not. If I'm good with it and I feel like I'm in alignment and I'm staying on the right path, then your opinion, whether you agree or disagree with what I'm doing, it doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
that will be the practical way. Ask yourself the questions. What's the motive behind behind it?
Well, and also asking the question, why do I need to be validated?
Right?
What is it in me right this moment that needs to be validated? Is it my little girl? Is it, you know, something that I was told as my parents or in
Right.
church or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for most humans, we all had the experience for those of us who were are able to walk. When we first started walking, the first thing you just see a bunch of group of people like, "You did
Yeah.
it. Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a
Yeah.
good thing or bad thing, but I think as a baby, we're engraved to like if we do something, we need to hear praises.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of us seeking validation comes from. But the true thing is, are you happy with what you did? Is the
Yeah.
only validation that's required is the one that you give yourself.
Right. Did it feel authentic to your belief and to your connection with the divine?
Mhm.
Those are the questions I ask myself
Mhm.
because we are all one.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't believe that. They go, oh, she's a woo woo.
Woo woo.
I have family members that think I'm woo woo. And I had a friend who said, wait a minute. And so she changed it to WUUU. And she had W meaning wonderful and U's meaning, you know, whatever positive words are,
Raw. Yeah.
down the, and
I
so
like it.
she's woo. And I love
Unique.
that because,
Unpredictable.
so many people have a really hard time with talking about spirituality and talking about heart and soul and oneness and that kind of stuff.
No, well, not
Because,
not with Tanya Renee. I can't do anything like I genuinely believe that we as humans collectively, we spend so much time understanding the human nature of us that we neglect our spiritual beings, but we're
Yeah.
both. And if we're
Yes.
constantly feeding our flesh, we're going to get fleshly responses, which is all the emotional pain, the discomforts, the
Right.
lies, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if we
Yeah.
start feeding our spiritual selves, we become more grounded and equipped to fight our fleshly desires. So,
Yeah.
definitely.
So we talked a little bit before about the word belief and the lie in the center of belief. And we were talking about, breaking free from unhealthy beliefs or, something like that. Um, I'm not fond of the word belief because of that,
Mm-hmm.
because I look at some of the beliefs that I've been led to have that says you have to believe this or else. And it's like, really? Does this belief really serve me?
Mm-hmm.
Does it serve anybody to walk in less than
Right.
who they truly are? So, is there anything around that that you'd like to share? Because I know you mentioned lie in the last
Yeah.
comment that you made.
So I'm going to talk about the first entry in my book. So when I was in fifth grade, I had amazing friends, females and males. And one day, as I was at the cafeteria, like I remember like it was yesterday, I'm sitting on the little benches at the cafeteria, my legs still swinging. I still wasn't tall enough to touch the ground. And I overheard some of my female friends saying they planned on fighting me. So then it was like, wait, like I'm not even a fighter. Like I'm like so taken by this. Like what's going
Yeah.
on? And these are my friends. Like why do my friends want to fight me? And the gist of it, they said that because I thought I was all of that. Now in that moment, that was not true. I still don't believe that was true, but it wasn't until almost about a year ago now I ran into one of those young ladies and I haven't seen her in over 20 years. And I sat down and I started journaling about my experience as a child. And what I realized that night is that I was living under a false belief system that if I fully showed up confidently as my true self, people would be bothered. People would misrepresent
Mm,
my actions. So from that day up until about a year ago, I was not fully showing up as myself because I choose to believe something that just wasn't true.
yeah. I and I noticed that you used the word faith in a possible um, title for this session.
Mm-hmm.
And I love using the word faith or trust instead of belief.
Mm.
Because if I have faith in myself and my divine one, Christ, whatever that is for us, um, for me, each individual, then I don't have to worry about beliefs that don't work for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the only way to get to that point is really truly doing the work and
Yeah.
finding out who you truly are, like the truth, so that when lies come up or people try to put beliefs on you, you have the strength to combat that.
So, you mentioned a book. Tell us about that and the
Okay.
title.
So the book is called I Found My Light, Now Go Find Yours, a journal to heal and return to God's truth. Um, Honestly, I had no intention on writing a book. That wasn't on top of mind. It wasn't a desire, a goal, or nothing. I literally ran into the friend and my husband asked, why did we stop being friends? So as I was revisiting those thoughts, it was so many thoughts. I started writing down, well, I didn't write, I started typing with my thumbs on my phone in my note section, all my feelings. And as I was typing, I knew the Holy Spirit and Jesus was talking to me because I was getting scriptures that I didn't even really knew that I knew. And I'm writing scriptures, and as I'm writing these scriptures, I'm hearing God's word speak to my heart, and it was healing me in real time. And I heard the Holy Spirit whisper, like, this is a book. And I was like, no, sir, this is not a book because this is information about me that my mother doesn't know. Because not only that fifth grade, a lot of lies, stuff that happened to me, from a child into an adult was just coming
Yep.
up. And I was like, wow,
Yep.
I had no idea that I was operating from all of these lies and experience through my life that I just accepted as truth. And so when God told me that it was going to be a book, him and I had like a whole big thing about this because this is my private thoughts. It was kind of like a diary. So I was like, well, I'm not going to fight. You're going to win regardless. Okay, fine. It'll be a book, but let me like tweak it a little bit so it won't be as vulnerable or as honest. Let me not say the specific things that happened to me, but I'll just generalize it. And he was like, "No, ma'am.
No.
we need the
I can
authentic.
see
We
that.
need the truth." And I was like, "Oh, fine. You win again." So a couple of months later, I have one copy with me right now, right here. So the way that is written is literally written as if like I'm talking to you and you are my diary. So I give an entry about my thoughts and my truth and what exactly happened to me. And then afterwards, there's some scriptures that I share with you. And then there's journal, like a prompt might say something like, um, what part of my personality or giving have I toned down to make others comfortable? So it's meant to read my story and then it asks you questions like how can my story open up your mind to your experience? And I've had people come to me like genuinely and completed the journal, not just read it, but actually did the work and realized that they were living under lies themselves, but they didn't know. And that's how I felt. I'm like,
Yeah.
who goes around walking confidently every day like, yep, I'm living six lives right now. Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
it's not a thing. No one knows. And some people might be like, I don't need that, but like you don't know what lie you're living until you
Yeah.
take the time to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I didn't plan on being an author either. I mean, when
Yeah.
I retired, was offered a buyout and I took retirement at 63. I spent 3 years vegetating because I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I was eating, I was sleeping, I was watching TV, I was taking some art classes, but
Okay.
it's like, what am I going to do now? And then I started 12 step and all of a sudden getting into the sacred principles: honesty, hope, faith, the first three, and number four, courage. I
Hmm.
all of a sudden got told you need to write a book.
Wow.
And I call it a focus journal. It's called Discovery is Recovery.
Awesome.
Because if we discover who we are, what lies we're living in, or in some people call them sunglasses that you're
Mm,
seeing through, or whatever. There's lots of different
right.
modalities out there. What gerbil wheel or merry-go-round are you on?
Mm-hmm.
Until we discover that and begin to ask the tough questions of ourselves and take that pause, we're going to keep doing the same thing and
The
thinking the same
same
thing.
thing.
And
Exactly.
it's okay, but it keeps us, for me, I think it keeps us from our true purpose
Oh, absolutely.
of what we're here to do, which is to shine, share, love, be kind, be
Yeah.
compassionate, all of that.
And if I could piggyback on that, and I did research on this. I study like how many people are really truly happy in the United States, and the numbers were really bad. There's a
Yeah.
lot of sad people out there. There's a lot of people who are unfulfilled. There's a lot of people who are dealing with suicidal thoughts. I mean, I've suffered with
Yep.
that. And I genuinely believe if you are not in alignment, if you don't understand your true identity, other than, yeah, if you don't fully understand your true identity, you will be battling a lot of mental issues. Like
Yeah.
you will not be at your happiest. You will not have peace. Like I don't think you can have peace outside of purpose. If someone want to debate me, we can do that. I'm
Yeah,
I'm not like
I won't debate
trained
you
on
because I
debating.
believe it. Because, we all really want to walk in joy, which is
Yes,
even deeper than happiness.
yes, that is true. Yes,
Joy
ma'am.
comes from the gut, joy comes from the heart. Joy comes from, for me, living my purpose, even if it's only for this 20 minutes that we're talking.
Yeah, you're gonna get fueled and empowered because you are
Yeah,
when you're in alignment and one is ooh, it's so beautiful. I fight for these moments. These are
yeah.
great moments.
So we need to look at closing down. Is there any last share that you would like to make for our audience?
I'll just piggyback on the thing that's in my bio. Like, I genuinely believe that we all are uniquely different and we all are equipped already with what we need to walk in full alignment with our purpose. You just have to trust yourself. You have to
Yep.
have faith and courage to just fully be who God created you to be. And I promise you, if you take the time to understand your true identity, you would have complete joy and peace. Now, every moment won't be perfect, but you'll know
Nope.
how to adjust very quickly.
Well, and I'm not sure that perfect is the only, we're human, and I
Yes,
don't want to be perfect,
yes.
because if I feel like I'm perfect, then why am I still here?
Oh,
Because I have
that's it.
nothing else to do. Well, you know what? I want to keep learning.
Right, yeah, as you should. If you're not
I
learning, you're not growing.
want to
If you're
keep
not growing, you're
learning.
dying. Yeah.
And it's okay to make mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how I learn.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
So,
Absolutely.
how can people contact you, LaTonya?
Yeah, the best way is my website, which is www.latonyareneeflood.com. Just my name.
Mine too, BrendaLBalding.com.
Look at us.
It's so easy.
So simple.
Why not?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much for this time, LaTonya. It has been so much fun.
Yes, it has, Miss Brenda. Thank you so much
Let's do
again for
some
having
deep
me.
breathing, everyone, since we've been laughing and talking and moving, to just get grounded so that we can go back into our day with peace and joy and oneness. Deep breath in, hold it, breathe out. Deep breath in. I always imagine I'm breathing it through my heart down into my lungs so that all of that loving energy is getting into my body. And as I breathe out, I'm breathing out anything that I no longer need in this moment. And as I breathe in, I'm breathing in light and love from the divine. And I'm holding it there and let it light up my whole body. And then I'm letting go of anything that no longer serves me in this moment. I can always take it back if I want it. And one more beautiful breath. What a joy this has been.